Welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, President opens Rupununi Magisterial District Office. More than 3,000 redundant workers received severance pay, and confidence among Guyanese high for a favorable settlement by the ICJ. Stay tuned for the details of these and more. Daddy! And now for the details. In our first report, the town of Letham will now benefit from the opening of the Rupununi Magisterial District Office, which was officially commissioned this morning by President David Granger. Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan and other ministers of government were also present at the event. Chancellor of the Judiciary, Honorable Justice Yonit Cummings Edwards, noted that justice services will now be centralized with regular court hearings and a resident magistrate. His Worship, Mr. Alan Wilson, will serve as the resident magistrate for the Rupununi Magisterial District. This satellite court will also serve residents of Aishalton, Karasabai, Anai, and Monkey Mountain. Gaisuco has reported that 97% of redundant workers at the East Demerara Estates have received severance. Here's this report.
Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Sugar Corporation, Paul Bim, told InfoHub that all the employees that were affected by the corporation's reorganization have received severance pay.
That's an exercise which went fairly well. It was quite 3,700 checks to print and to sign, and the logistics, it had to be organized. But as I said, it all went according to plan. So the money's in the workers' hands at this point in time.
Bim said that the payments were in keeping with an undertaking made by the government and the announcement made by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu that payments were going to be made available from Monday last. Bim also said as soon as additional funds are made available, the remaining 50% will be paid to those who are entitled.
About 3,700 employees were issued with severance letters. And the government had approved the partial payment of the severance, 50%. But there was an adjustment to that because anybody with $500,000 and less were paid in full. So the estates, Skeldon, Rose Hall, and more, and there are some employees at Wales as well who were severed in that lot. The payments went through on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those have all been completed.
The acting CEO is currently in the process of assessing queries made by some workers, but so far, 1,400 have received their severance in full, and the remainder awaiting the remaining 50%. For InfoHub, Stefan Gabriel.
Ambassador Cedric Joseph says Venezuela has to advance legal arguments to establish a case of nullity of the arbitral award of 1899 during a discussion on Guyana's borders hosted by the University of Guyana last night. Tiffany Rogers tells us more.
There's only one body that can deal with that is organized and established after 20 years of war and fighting, and that's the ICJ.
Ambassador Joseph dismissed Venezuela's recent criticism of the United Nations Secretary General's decision to have the International Court of Justice resolve the decades-old controversy. Venezuela on Wednesday insisted that only the 1966 Geneva Agreement can settle the controversy. However, Ambassador Joseph pointed out that the SG's decision is in keeping with the Geneva Agreement.
Those means of settlement in Geneva really come from Article 33 of the United Nations Charter. And the last means in Article 33 and in the Geneva is judicial settlement. And when you speak of judicial settlement in the United Nations framework, you speak of the body established within the United Nations framework to facilitate a judicial settlement. That is the ICJ.
The ambassador noted that Guyana has exhausted all the provisions for settlement in the Geneva Agreement. He also pointed out Guyana could still present its case to the ICJ without Venezuela, citing the recent ruling by the ICJ in favor of the Philippines versus China over the South Sea. China made no representation in the matter.
Only recently, 2 years ago, Philippines brought the case of the South Sea China against the powerful People's Republic of China, who did not participate. And the court went ahead, examined all the documents, and issued a substantial judgment in support of the rights of Philippines.
For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Many Guyanese feel it is time that the Guyana Venezuela controversy is settled and are confident that Guyana is on the right side of the law.
On Tuesday, the United Nations Secretary General announced it has referred the Guyana Venezuela controversy to the International Court of Justice for a final settlement. The man and the woman on the street, who spoke with InfoHub, believe it's a long overdue decision.
They're trying to stymie all the progress and efforts being made in this country to move forward. So I think that the decision to let the final judgment rest with the ICJ is the best. It's best for Guyana.
I think that it is a right move by the UN to send this matter to the International Court of Justice, because of course we don't want to be so aggressive, and we're trying to avoid all kinds of what you call physical and war and these kinds of things, and then these are starbucks, and these is things that you should be looking at in a diplomatic way, in a peaceful resolution.
Confidence is high among Guyanese that the court will rule in Guyana's favor.
I know the court is going to rule in Guyana's favor. Our president is going to be there, and he's going to smile because the Court of Justice is going to rule in Guyana's favor.
Judicial settlement to this issue is going to put it to rest once and for all.
More importantly, Guyanese are looking forward to the development of the country when the controversy is settled.
It will mean a lot because those persons in the border area, I think they would benefit a lot from it, and the miners as well.
If Guyana should win, we should be able to develop more in our mining industry, seeing that we don't have any threat against it.
For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Guyana National Cooperative Union Limited launched its first Train of Trainers program for cooperative societies. Sanika Thorne has more.
The exercise, which was officially launched on Friday at the Guyana National Cooperative Union Limited, aims to equip instructors to train persons within the cooperative movement. Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection, Keith Scott, spoke of the importance of the program, even as the government works assiduously to revive the cooperative movement in Guyana.
We've therefore got to understand that you're now in a position where we have identified that the co-op movement can be one of the pillars of success for our economy.
Minister Scott congratulated the cooperators for participating in such an important activity. He expressed the hope that much more training will follow.
You are a set of people meeting together for a purpose, and that purpose is to take Guyana through the roof. That purpose is to understand that if you can make the cooperative sector successful, then we will succeed in being the third pillar in the economy. We will succeed in taking the place that sugar once had, where we, as cooperators, producing whatever our land can give us, will then be able to give to the GDP the kind of money that we as a country will be able to earn the respect, not in one sector, but in every sector. And therefore, I congratulate you. I hope that this second section of learning will lead to many more.
The training is being facilitated by Aubrey Crawford, who will be assisted by two prominent cooperative experts. The participants will cover over 13 modules, covering areas including transparency and accountability, management and auditing. The program will conclude in April 2018. Sanika Thorne for InfoHub.
Zanil Williams now tells us that a career guidance path program has been implemented countrywide as emphasis is being placed on vocational technical education in Guyana.
The Ministry of Education has been revamping the education sector to include more technical and vocational subjects, following Guyana being authorized to award the Caribbean Vocational Qualifications certificates to students. Technical Assistant Chief Education Officer Patrick Chinadu says this is in an effort to ensure students are being given comprehensive advice and direction on future career paths.
So that career path helps children to say, look, if I start this ACCP, I can finish at grade 10. Let's say I'm doing electrical installation, level 1. I might go over to CVQ or any of the technical institutes. With that ACCP, they will accept it because it's recognized there. That yes, they know what those students would have mastered at that ACCP level. And we recognize that when they finish the ACCP, their career at the technical institute are kind of that easier because they would have started part of what they do at the post-secondary institutions.
The Career Path program, which has been in the making for some 2 years, was designed to assist individuals in making and implementing informed educational and occupational choices. Chenadu pointed out that as Guyana continues to build its economy, technical and vocational training will be key to its successful development.
TVET, which is kind of a synonym to workforce development, right? Because a nation to develop, especially now Guyana is preparing for this oil boom and probably the transformations it's going to bring to Guyana. This is a point when TVET is going to really play its critical role for Guyana to be where it's supposed to be. We've been hearing a lot of jobs are going to be created.
Zanil Williams for InfoHub.
Despite the fact that the bulk of Region 6's 2018 allocation is for recurrent expenditure, Minister of Communities Ronald Bulkan has assured that capital works will not be compromised. Details from Renetta Lafleur.
From the $6.4 billion allocated for the East Berbice Quarantine region, $6.1 billion will be spent on payments of wages and salaries under all the programs in the region. Minister Bulkan said some projects will be funded by the government.
We must also be mindful that capital projects in the region, in our regions, and this one being no exception, are not only funded via our RDCs and these agencies, but there are also investments done via the line ministries, whether it's agriculture or education or public health, that some of the projects are funded centrally.
The minister agreed there will always be pleas for more resources, especially with the imminent boost in the oil and gas sector. But there is a limit to that which is available for spending.
And these riches that we are being told lie 120 miles offshore from us, it's going to take a few years to get here. And we can't begin to develop a mindset that we must start spending that money as of now, before it actually materializes. As a country, we have to be able to live within our means. We have to be able to prioritize where public investments are to be made.
Renetta Lafleur for InfoHub.
As the country gears up for Mashramani, Region 4's Children's Mashramani competition continued today at the Sports Hall with spectacular displays. Zanil Williams joins us again with our final report.
Students between the ages of 8 and 17, filled with pride and excitement, displayed their costumes and floats at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall today. Primary students were given the theme, Celebration of Our Flora and Fauna, many of which were portrayed in all the costumes. St. Stephen's Primary, St. Sidwell's Primary, School of the Nations, St. Angela's Primary, Ascension Secondary, St. Barnabas, and St. John's College were the schools that participated in today's competition. For the individual category, the winners were 8 to 10 St. Sidwell's, 11 to 13 School of the Nations, and 14 to 17 St. Barnabas Special School. In the group category, Graham's Hall Primary brought first in the 8 to 10 group, while St. Angela's Primary and St. Barnabas Special School won the 11 to 13 and the 14 to 17 category respectively. 11-year-old Joel de Oliveira of School of the Nations explained his costume.
I chose it because we're in Guyana. Obviously, that's the coat of arms. I choose a kanji pleasant because it's on my top here because it's the national bird of Guyana. I chose the jaguar because it's a part of Guyana.
Meanwhile, costume designer Nielsen Nurse and teacher Jacqueline Gray of St. Angela's Primary explained the inspiration for their costumes.
Our float is depicting both flora and fauna. Our flora means our trees and flowers and so on, and the fauna, our animals. Well, we didn't go wide into animals. We have a wide variety of birds, so we went wide into specifically birds of Guyana. We have here, we have the eagle, we have the garland, we have the macaw, and we have the parrots.
For Graham's Hall, we focus on the Arapaimo. St. Stephen's, we did flora fauna, we celebrated the flowers of Guyana. And St. Sidwell's, they did the cock of the rock. And we also have St. Angela's, they did the birds of Guyana, and we're celebrating birds of Guyana. In the senior category, we have St. John's, and they're going to celebrate industries in Guyana, and they're doing the tourism industry of Guyana.
Don't forget to bring out your children to be part of the Children's Costume and Float Parade on the 17th of February, starting at Parade Ground and concluding at the National Park. Zenil Williams for Info Hub.
Please be reminded to schedule an appointment for your annual eye examination. Routine visits to your optometrist can preserve your vision over the long term. Thanks for watching. Remember to connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.